Just recently, we got some new information on the RE4 Remake that includes QuickTime events, a potential co-op mode for the mercenaries, and much more. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Resident Evil 4.
Just recently, the RE4 Remake got a new ESRB rating that includes a description of the game. In this description, it states that the RE4 Remake will include in-game purchases, particularly on the PS4, PS5, and Xbox Series consoles. No further details were mentioned as to what exactly these purchases will be, but due to the RE3 Remake having a similar feature with its Resident Evil Resistance Multiplayer Edition, this has led many people to believe that we may see some sort of co-op implementation in the RE4 Remake, possibly with the iconic Mercenaries game mode. If this is indeed the case, maybe Capcom is testing to see how well the co-op will do for upcoming Resident Evil remakes. Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil Outbreak were both co-op games, and Resident Evil 0 could easily be remade into a co-op game. So maybe an RE4 Remake multiplayer mode could lead to many more future Resident Evil co-op games. Looks like we will just have to wait and see. Now aside from this, the rating also mentions the game being a third-person experience, and mentions nothing about first person. So it looks like the rumors stating that the player will be able to switch between first and third person were just made up. Now lastly, it states that some weapons and attacks result in decapitation and or dismemberment of enemies, along with large splatters of blood. Enemy attacks such as chainsaws and tentacles can also result in Leon being decapitated, blown apart, or impaled. The key takeaway here would be Leon getting decapitated by attacks, which pretty much confirms that Dr. Salvador's beheading chainsaw attack is still in the game, as well as a few other gruesome death animations. Now moving on, I found an article from IGN where they were able to interview the Resident Evil 4 Remake producer and ask some new questions. IGN brought up QuickTime events and asked if they would be implemented into the remake. The producer stated, "I'd say there are barely any QuickTime events. Different people have different definitions of what a QuickTime event is. So while I can't tell you that there aren't any at all, I can say that there aren't any prompts to press buttons mid-cutscene. However, there are times when you need to press a button based on a situation. The whole team has been working to properly fit what some would call QuickTime events into the actual game." With the producer confirming that there won't be any button prompts during cutscenes, this leads me to believe that there will be some drastic changes to Leon's first encounter with Krauser. I think it would make a lot more sense to replace the long QuickTime event cutscene with a knife-only boss fight against Krauser, especially since they are adding in some new mechanics like a parry attack with the knife. Now after this, the producer mentions that they have kept in the many lines where Leon insults the enemies, which even further confirms that we will see a lot of cheesy dialogue return.
Can't remember the name, huh? A senior moment, perhaps.
Lastly, the producer states that in addition to the large, medium, and small briefcases, there are a few customization options to add style to your bag, like charms you can attach and different briefcase colors. The gold briefcase you can get as a pre-order bonus actually has the effect of slightly increasing the amount of money that enemies drop. Now moving on from there, we have this new official art for the game that reveals a very interesting new detail. As you can see on the bottom right hand corner, there is a large pack of Ganados being led by Dr. Salvador, which I have to point out, it looks like he is wearing a brown jacket, possibly Leon's. Now this hasn't been confirmed yet, but I think that this image is taken from the cabin fight where we team up with Luis to take out Ganados. Firstly, you can see a bridge behind the Ganados, and we know that it's during night since the villagers have torches, and also on the right here you can see some wooden fence. When we go back to the recent trailer clip showing Leon and Ashley running to the cabin, we can see the exact same wooden stake fencing. So, if this image is indeed from the cabin fight, then it looks like Dr. Salvador will be making an appearance during the altercation. Now I don't think this 100% confirms that he will be a stalker enemy throughout the village, but it does show us that Dr. Salvador will be a lot more inclusive in the game, which is very exciting to see. But anyways guys, that was all the new information revealed for the RE4 Remake. I will be keeping you guys updated on this game all the way up to the release, so definitely be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.